Why I haven't bought a PlayStation 5 yet. It's been almost 2.5 years now since the PlayStation 5 has been released, and yet I don't feel compelled to buy the console. There are a few reasons that are quite obvious, like the unavailability, the overpricing. Well, I refuse to pay anything over 30,000 INR for any console, and a few more, but the most important one for me is that Sony has managed to disappoint me just the way I had forethought. Well, I call myself a gamer who has been loyal to the PlayStation, so such a remark will definitely be confusing. But let me explain. Let us go back in times of the PlayStation 2. The DualShock 2 controllers introduced for the console were mind-blowing. Imagine feeling the rumble in your hands when you are playing games like Mortal Kombat, Call of Duty, God of War, etc. That was just so incredible. Apart from seeing visually, you now had another line of control which would tell you if you committed some mistake. Though we faced a lot of issues regarding this controller, we still enjoyed the system and the titles offered, and that is one reason why PS2 still has the highest sales record till date. The introduction of the rumble in DS2 meant that it would be a legacy feature into the next-gen console controllers, which is logical to think. So people were expecting it to be there. Now, I don't want to go into the details about the U-turn Sony exhibited with the 6-axis versus rumble feature controllers for PS3. The thing is that even after heavily advertising the 6-axis feature of the DualShock 3, there were hardly any games AAA titles that used the full functionality of the 6-axis motion controller. Now I remember in the early years with games like Heavenly Sword, controlling the cannon and arrows, and Army of Two, controlling the parachute descent, and it was really remarkable. But even these games used the functionality only in some cases, just showcasing the capabilities of PS3 and its hardware. Some indie titles did break through to use it like Flow and Flower, but no AAA title ever went beyond showcasing the motion controllers. Imagine my disappointment when even the PlayStation's flagship game like God of War 3 also failed or completely ignored the 6-axis functionality of the DualShock 3 in its game. Now I remember playing this game where Kratos uses the Icarus wings to ascend and descend into those vertical tunnels of Mount Olympus, where they could have exploited the functionality of the 6-axis much like the one in Heavenly Sword, but no. It was completely ignored. The remaining years for the PS3 console regarding the motion control were no different, with Sony and even gamers completely forgetting about the 6-axis functionality. And to add insult to injury, the Move controllers were introduced on the PS3. Yeah, people were hyped, excited, and bought those controllers along with the camera, along with some handful of games that supported it. Though this hype continued for a while, eventually it phased out. But one should consider that given the 6-axis functionality of the DS3 controllers, was it really necessary? The Move controllers were nothing more than motion sensors. Though the way it did was different, the desired output could also be achieved from a DualShock 3 controller. But maybe I was too naive at the time, thinking that maybe the game developers and the technology was not good advanced enough, or maybe my expectations were very high. So time passes, and now we have the PlayStation 4 come out with the DualShock 4 controllers, and to no one's surprise, they had the rumble as well as the 6-axis functionality a bit better now, I would say. The initial game that I played was infamous Second Son. Here the motion sensing was used, wherein you held the controller like a can and used one of the controllers as a spray button. I liked that and was once again hoping that the future games be using more of the motion sensing. But once again I was disappointed, as there were hardly any games that did justice to the 6-axis functionality. The only games that did use the motion sensing were the Astro Ninja, which let's admit is more of a childish games. And that is all there is for the motion sensing in the PlayStation 3 and 4. You may think that I am overreacting to this a bit. Just to let you know that I am happy with my consoles. I had a PS2 and now I currently own a PS3, a PS4, a PS Vita and a PSP as well. I even own a PSVR. I am still very much a fan of the PlayStations. And when it comes to pure and powerful gaming, nothing comes close to it. But I feel that the developers and especially Sony are not fully exploiting the motion sensing functionality of the PlayStations. Look at what the Nintendo Switch has done. Despite the massive and embarrassing performance of the Wii U to impress the gamers, Nintendo hit back with its latest console. The Switch. Switch, in spite of its small Joy-Cons, is capable of doing a lot of motion sensing activities and hence gets the appeal. Plus Nintendo itself is quite involved at developing and promoting such games. So why can't Sony? It just manages to give up on a certain amazing aspect of its console totally. Well, it's not a surprise after what they have done to the PS Vita. But then don't go on promoting such a new functionality. And then comes the PS5 with DualSense controllers. And once again Sony is promoting the console, highly emphasizing the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers for a better gaming experience. And as of what I have read, these two things are really great, adding a sort of an authenticity to the gaming experience. But this time I will be cautious. I won't be shelling out money just for something that Sony and other game developers later on might not be promoting so much. And we as gamers may just go into amnesia about that. So what the future of PS5 unfolds is still a mystery, and once again I am hopeful that it will be better, but this time I am just a little bit more cautious. Thanks for watching.